So I'm reworking my biological version of the system to almost look at the body as a human antenna or not, if you will. And first we had it at, me and the AI worked it out to where it'd be 16 chapters. And now it's stopping at 10. Well, actually it stopped at 8. And then I asked it some more questions, and we wrote chapter 9 again, and then it said it was done, and then we reworked it, now it's 10, and it's backpedaling. But basically what's happening is we're stepping into a place where the biology starts making sense that it's a human antenna. Not that, because, I mean, it's a self-sustaining system that is based on resonance. Your heart, your mind, and your central nervous system, and all these things are all tuned to specific frequencies, and we're breaking into how resonance and such. Basically, it's teaching me as well that, like, this is how frequency healing and shit would work. And how the resonant system is a multi-frequency system that is, how do I say this? But basically, we're backpedaling because we're stepping into areas where modern physics says things that the program demands aren't real. And it's having to backpedal. And I'm finding it very interesting and funny. It did the same thing with the first book, because it would say this, and then we'd work it out and be like, oh shit, this is not. And yeah, I know, right? Let's stick with that. It's not this. It's like at the end when I took the first book, on the energy and rotation and the Zeldovich effect and the Faraday stuff. When we started setting it all up, it basically proved to itself that all the things are possible. And it's more about timing and getting the system perfectly timed. And once you are perfectly timed, you start becoming a resonant circuit, if you will, and it starts to minimize loss. And they've proven this in the quantum realm with heat engines. They are recollecting the lost heat and using it to help it move forward and stuff. And basically, modern physics tries to tell us that the quantum is a micro scale and it's not achievable on the physical scale. And then 2025 hit, and they, just like you can't have a quantum sensor in a wet, cold, or wet and dry, or wet and hot environment. And then Spitzer School of Science basically made a quantum protein sensor using a DMT based structure inside of a cell and created a sensor. And that's basically how, similar to how the ghost murmur functions, because proteins are quantum sensors, basically, is what they accidentally proved. But I'm taking all of this and trying to get the book to understand it on another level, and it's basically so on point that the AI is backpedaling, and I find it very interesting. Now I'm probably going to have to work with this damn thing for a minute, because once we start stepping into that oh shit moment, and it's like, how do I, exactly, you can't you can't say that because that's exactly what it's doing. You just explained it to me that that's how it's actually functioning. And I've been developing this book for many of years. And this past the 2025, that summer, all of this technology started coming out that was the missing pieces of what I was searching for to complete this work. And pretty excited, and the AI is backpedaling on me, but I'll get there. I don't know, I just thought you guys might think that's interesting. I do. Because, I mean, it's accidentally proving my point and then having an oh shit moment and trying to backpedal and say that that's not what's happening. At one point, in the 5th chapter, and we're discussing basically it told me that the energies that are being received by the outside, from an outside source, are not large enough to power the body. And I mean, that's not the point of what I'm doing. I mean, I'm not saying that something is powering the body. We all know that we eat, we do these things, and the body is powered by this. But that doesn't say that consciousness can't be a signal that's microscopic. I mean, that's the whole point with, like, the crystal radio. Like, that free radio that has zero power input. It just vibrates a crystal. That's it. And a capacitor gets charged by an incoming signal. If my body is self-powering itself, that little bitty signal would be enough to be considered what consciousness could be. And it's starting to catch on to that, and it's trying to backpedal. And I think it's funny. I will continue with this. The book's going to take a lot longer than expected because it's trying to backpedal, but I'll get there. All right. Thanks, guys.